I'm Brian Beeler and welcome inside the Storage Review Lab. In front of you today we're working with the Dell EMC Unity XT, which is their mid-range storage platform. Now back in January 2018 we reviewed the original Unity, the 450F, and gave it an Editor's Choice Award for its excellent blend of performance, manageability, and integration with VMware. The Unity XT takes the original Unity story up a notch. Dell EMC promises up to a 2x performance gain over the predecessors. This is thanks in large part to software optimizations, so a much refreshed code base, and Intel Skylake CPUs. The Unity XT is also NVMe ready, which means that within a few months there'll be a software update out that'll enable the NVMe capabilities of Unity XT. Data reduction has also been improved in the Unity XT. Dell EMC is quoting a 5-to-1 data reduction rate and 85% system efficiency. Now, of course, this is for most workloads and your data reduction rate will vary. Like the previous models, the Unity XT is available in hybrid and all-flash configurations. The Unity chassis is a 2U enclosure with support for 25 drives across the front. And out of the gate, Unity XT supports several capacities of SAS SSDs ranging from 800 gig all the way up to 15.36 gigabytes. For those that need more expansion than the 25 drives provided in the main chassis, Dell EMC offers a number of disk array enclosures ranging from a similar form factor of 2U 25 bays up to an 80 drive enclosure. Now our system under test is the Unity XT 480F, and this one's capable of supporting up to 750 drives and an IOPS count of 1.68 million. And you can see in our chassis, we've got the 800 gig SSDs. These are a Samsung SSD. We see these a lot in Dell EMC products. They've been a tremendous workhorse over the years and should be able to hit these IOPS targets. This system supports up to 750 drives. We've got 192 gig of RAM across the two controllers and overall capacity up to 4 petabytes. Dell EMC offers 3 other systems in the Unity XT line, the 380, the 680, and the 880, both available in flash and disk and hybrid configurations. Now, if you think about scalability at the top end, what this means is that the Unity XT 880F can support up to 1,500 drives, 16 petabytes, and over 2.5 million IOPS. So let's go ahead and take a look at the back side of the unit and provide you with a little more detail on the controllers and the I/O modules. Alright, so we've rotated the Dell EMC Unity XT around to the back, and you can see that there are 2 controllers, each one taking up 1U of space in the 2U chassis. Now what we've got configured for I/O are 8 16 gig fiber ports per controller. This is going to give us the fastest performance available out of this Unity XT, as we'll be looking to peg its IOPS and throughput capabilities. If you wanted, however, Dell EMC supports several different I/O modules. This one's a 25 gigabit Ethernet module, and that would be something you could swap out for one of the fiber channel modules if you want more Ethernet expansion on the back of this. As we go across the top of this, you see the management cluster here with Ethernet, USB, and serial connections. There are also the SAS expander ports available here. And then Dell EMC also includes 10 gig standard on the back of this unit, which we actually used for replication to the Faction Cloud as part of our disaster recovery as a service project. So plenty of I/O modules, lots of capabilities and flexibility when you configure a Dell EMC Unity XT system. Now what we're going to do is pull out one of the controllers and give you a deeper dive into the components that are available there. So we've gone ahead and pulled out one of the controllers from our Dell Unity XT, and as you probably can't see in the back, though, there's a little sticker here. They've got stickers everywhere on this thing, and this one's to remind you that the controller is heavy. Indeed it is. If you're pulling it out by yourself, you want to make sure to not drop it on your foot. It is the full length of the chassis pretty much. If we go ahead and eject the top cover here, we get a great view inside the controller of the DRAM, the CPUs, fans, everything else that's going on in here. One of my favorite things is if we pull this little shroud off here, is the lithium-ion backup battery unit assembly that's in here, which is Great for things like unplanned power failure, but also if you accidentally remove a power cord to the system, it'll provide enough power to hold up the data and make sure everything's secure. And speaking of such, there's also this little guy that looks a little different from the rest of the DIMMs inside. And this card has two SSDs on it. There's a 960 gig NVMe drive and there's a 240 gig SATA drive, and these are going to be used for booting the system and to be a destination for RAM flush in the event of an unforeseen power failure. So we're going to put him back in and put the lid back on and get this system operational, and we'll do a quick walkthrough on how to get the Unity XT online and available for provisioning. We've put the Unity XT back into the rack. Kevin's recabled it and powered it back on. And once you access the management screen via browser window, you log in and get to this initial configuration wizard. So Kevin's going to walk us through these steps to finish the setup of the Unity XT and get us to the point where we can provision storage and begin testing.
Thank you. And so here we work through a lot of the high-level settings that the platforms require when they are first provisioned a data center. Things like DNS servers, NTP servers. In our case, since we're leveraging just Fibre Channel and working in a test lab environment, we will be skipping these. And then here we've already applied our license, but this is an area where you get to provision the services that the array is going to be licensed for. And also you get to select, are you going to be enabling data at rest encryption, which you can't change after a storage array has been provisioned. You'd have to fully reinitialize it.
And that process of applying the license does take a minute or two, so we've done that ahead of time to save time for this video.
Next, we'll create our pool that will give us the storage. And this, we're going to give it a good name of just RAID. And here we'll be using their Extreme Performance tier profile, which will give us a little bit over 18 terabytes of storage, or 15 terabytes after RAID provisioning. And then this will run for a little bit in the background. We can close this window and continue along in our configuration. Next, you can select how alerts are sent out and configure its outbound SMTP server. You can give it proxy server settings. Here is where you would give it your EMC support credentials to phone home, so you can monitor things remotely. And as well as enable the EMC secure remote services. And then connect iSCSI interface settings for block over IP, your NAS servers, and then your final configuration. And then from there, we are done. And this is the screen that you're met with that will be the main landing point for you going forward. And as you add systems, as you add different hosts and environments into here, they'll start to populate with in your system health window. So you'll see the number of hosts that are connected. These will either be green or red depending on hosts that are disconnected or not. And then you'll get to see your system capacity as well as the overall efficiency as data reduction and compression work in the background. And to connect VMware hosts is pretty easy. Unity provides a lot of in-depth access into different plugins. And here, after we type in our vCenter credentials, you'll pull in the hosts that are inside vCenter and allow us to start provisioning data stores directly on those hosts. Now we do have a number of hosts that are not running our environment, so there'll be a couple that, more than a couple, that will be not shown. But here, this might be starting to pull in. Yeah. So here's one of our primary core lab hosts that runs in our lower data center, and here we get to see the number of initiators that's visible. And we're able to start giving it storage. So since we've already created our storage pool, we can actually create data stores on it. So here we will provision a VMFS 6 data store, and we'll give it a name of Unity 1. Well, in this example, let's do 100 gigabytes, and we'll enable data reduction. The access will be provisioned to the host that the array can already see. And you can enable or not enable replication. This can also be added in after the fact if you've set up a remote connection. And now it is creating the data store on the host itself, which is actually pretty nice, since most storage arrays, you'd provision your block storage out, you'd do a rescan on the host to find your block storage, and then you'd have to go on and create your data store on that block device. In this case, though, Unisphere is able to go out, talk to that host, scan the storage, or kick off a script that scans the storage, and then create the data store with the name that you've given it, which for a single data store might not save a lot of time, but when you're configuring tens or hundreds of data stores across multiple hosts, this can be a huge time saver. And as any of the tasks are running, you're able to close out the windows to have it go in the background, so you're not stuck at a particular screen while activities are running in the background. But overall, the interface is really nice compared to the older compellent or EqualLogic environments that required either additional software or additional hosts that need to run the management software. Here it's HTML5 based, and we could be running this on an iPad for all it mattered. It's really easy and a really nice interface to work through.
So from here, you'll go and provision the rest of your hosts and get going from a testing perspective.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we'll be back with the full performance review of our Unity XT. But for now, this gives you a flavor for what it takes to get the system online and available, and just what the general capabilities are from an interface standpoint. We'll be back soon with a full review.